Subway has teamed up with Live Nation to bring you great food and great music for a great value. Right now, buy a Subway $5 footlong and get a Live Nation concert ticket for $5 to participating Live Nation shows like Nickelback, The Fray, and Crew Fest 2. Ticket price does not include fees. See store for details. Subway. Eat fresh. Eat fresh. The B.S. Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The B.S. Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. We called my friend JackO at the end of the Chad Millman BS Report, and it went so long that we had to turn it into its own BS Report. So it's 2 for Friday. Buy one, get one free. 2 BS Reports. Here it is. We called JackO at work. He didn't know we were calling, and he is on the Subway Fresh Take hotline. Here's how it went.
Bill, JackO, partners in crime, the Subway Fresh Take hotline.
Complex Litigation, this is John.
Oh, Johnny.
That's a very dejected Johnny.
I know. I'm not looking forward to the playoffs.
You're what?
I'm not looking forward to it.
This is
You know what I don't like?
This is absolutely ridiculous.
You know what I don't like? Everybody's just...
I'm going to hang up now. I'm not participating in your attempts at reverse jinxery.
I don't like that everyone's penciled us into an Angels thrashing in October. It's just like a foregone conclusion we're going to beat the Angels because we always beat them.
I've penciled you into a duck boat parade in mid-November. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm serious. I had a revelation this week.
What was it?
An epiphany, some might say.
Yeah.
I just realized, the Red Sox, it's like 2004 all over again. The team is peaking at the right time. They're winning crazy games that they steal, like that 9-8 game against the Angels the other night. Dice K pitches like 6 innings of brilliant shutout baseball. I'm telling you, something's in the air. It's making me uncomfortable.
You know what's in the air? Jason Veritek's decomposing corpse.
Well,
that's what you're smelling.
He stinks, obviously, but you got Victor Martinez, which was a phenomenal trade. It turned your season around.
And by the way, who wanted Victor Martinez for the entire season?
Forever.
Who said he was going to turn around the clubhouse? Bill Simmons, that's who.
You were ready. You were twittering about trading him for Buchholz.
I still would do it.
In a millisecond.
Although it looks like we might have sold very high on Justin Masterson.
What is he, like 1-5, 1-6 now?
Yeah, like every 5 days he gives up 7 runs in 3 innings, and then they throw him back out again. It's that...
Wasn't Mark Shapiro being touted as like one of the best young GMs in baseball?
Yeah, but his name's Mark Shapiro.
Oh, sorry.
And they always get like all like... Yeah, he's like one of those girls who says their name is pronounced a way that it doesn't seem like
the way it's not spelled.
It's like, just can you pronounce it Shapiro? Like, really, I have to remember it's Iro. But yeah, I think I never understood that trade. I really didn't. I just felt it's not like he was making $25 million a year. You know, he's making $7 million.
The Red Sox were desperate. How you don't hold out for at least Buchholz, if not more, is outrageous to me. I just don't understand that. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do?
Every year.
That turns the season around, though, and then you stabilize the shortstop position with Gonzalez.
What season did we turn around?
This one. The team, he was locked up a playoff berth, which was not a sure thing a month ago.
It's still not a sure thing.
You got a 6-game lead on Texas. 6 games with like 15 to play. Give me a break.
I don't trust it.
Give me a break. Oh, my God. This is ridiculous. I just hope that ESPN Boston will have you do a chat during every round of the playoffs, every game, hopefully, that the Red Sox are involved in.
I can assure you very few things in life, but one of them is that I'll never do an in-game Boston chat again.
I loved it. I was so excited when I was watching that game, and then I was reading your chat, but then you parachuted out of there wisely. The
only time I'll ever do another Boston chat is if, like, bookies are going to break my leg if I don't come up with 50,000 immediately. And I tell them, all right, here's what I'm going to do. The Pats are minus 500 favorites. I'm going to do a chat. during the game. Put everything in the other team. Yeah, it is uncanny. It's really hard for me to believe that I control the outcome of Boston teams by doing a chat, but apparently I do.
It's absolutely proven true. You had the triple header debacle a few months ago, and then almost a disastrous opening NFL night.
Yeah, I mean, and what's funny is nobody was mad at me for aborting the chat. Everybody's like, "Go, get out of here, run!"
Right.
Immediately come back and they win the game.
I fear for your safety if you ever do another one. Some crazed Boston fans are going to come and take you out of the Sports Guy Mansion. Good point.
With the Red Sox, though, I've been in such skies falling mode for the last month that now that they're starting to win and look good, I feel like I have to keep it going.
I understand the theory of the reverse jinx, but I don't even think
it's not a reverse jinx. I'm just so locked in now. I don't want to give up my territory.
I mean, they're playing phenomenally well. They made the Angels look sick, and meanwhile the Yankees are, they lose 2 out of 3 to Baltimore at home.
Wait, hold on though. A couple things about. First of all, phenomenal is a strong word. Second of all, the Angels had nothing to play for. They clinched the division like a month ago.
It doesn't matter. You still got to sit. I mean, the Red Sox own them in the postseason. You got to go in there and make a statement.
But at some point that flips. You're just not going to beat a team for the rest of your life. At some point they're going to. Baseball is too lucky and fluky now.
I don't know. It worked for the Yankees and the Red Sox for 86 years. The Red Sox might still have a few more against the Angels.
That was just because it was the karma gods penalizing us for not signing a black player until 1959.
Well, that's possible, right?
And now we're loaded with black bears.
Right.
With Joey Gathright and Joey Gathright.
You have a lot of Latin American players, though.
We do.
That's good.
We do. We have.
It's not like the old days of all white.
Some Far Easters.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
A couple of those. They've worked out great.
You have quite a few Japanese people of Japanese descent on your squad. You do. You really do.
God bless them all.
Absolutely. It's a melting pot. The United Nations.
It's been wonderful.
It's all good.
Yeah, I'll say the one thing. A couple things do make me feel good about the Angels. It's one of those lineups where you feel like you could pitch to each guy. I watch the Yanks, and even guys in the Yanks that, their stats aren't phenomenal, like somebody like Nick Swisher, he'll still have good at-bats.
He got 25 home runs, Nick Swisher.
No, I know, but I'm saying you got him for a song last year.
Pick your poison, right.
And even on the Red Sox, Alex Gonzalez, who was considered to be just this defensive stiff, and he's overachieved hitting for us, but at least he'll have decent at-bats. He's not just going to go up there and strike out in 3 pitches or ground out on the first pitch. He at least makes an effort. I watch this Angels team, and it seems like the same issue that they have every year. They have these guys that they just go up and they're hacking.
Alex Gonzalez is the odd guy who goes against the grain of the Simmons, JackO, National League, American League theorem.
I know, he actually got better.
He was hitting 206 in the National League and came to the American League, and he's hitting well.
Yeah, he's like the bizarro John Smoltz or
exactly.
something like that.
Must be the power of Victor Martinez handshakes.
Maybe it is. You can't underestimate Victor.
You can't.
The other thing I love about the Angels is I don't care. I know he's having a decent fantasy season, but that Fuentes, that guy just seems.
You're not counting on him in a big spot.
He's coming out of the bullpen in the ninth, and we need a run. I feel like we're getting it.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
He just looks like he would be fun to hit against.
Yeah, he's not a big-time closer. He's not the closer they need.
The thing that makes me mad, though, is that they basically just fell into Kazmir.
Yeah, that's an outrage.
If he's on, he doesn't own us.
Well, he owns the Yankees even more, so, yeah, that was a great trade for them.
I don't know why. I swear I'm not doing a reverse jinx. I just have this weird feeling about Angels-Dodgers this year.
Really? The battle of Southern Cal.
Because let's say the Angels shock the Red Sox, which wouldn't be a shock because they have home field advantage. It's like.
Well, they've had home field advantage every time they've played.
But we've never had a Game 5 where had to do the 2-2 and then come back to or is it 7 now? I can't even remember. No, it's still 5.
No, it's still 5. Yeah.
Yeah. I got confused with the NBA for a second. We've never had to play a Game 5 in Anaheim, which is interesting.
You sure?
Yeah, we did a Game 5 in Oakland.
Oh, all right. I thought there was a time where they had like a 2-0 lead on you. They won the first, and then you won 2 in Fenway, and then went out there for Game 5.
We've always been able to get rid of them before the dreaded Game 5 back in Anaheim.
I don't think it's going to go that long. You guys would steal one out there, and you're going to win both games at Fenway.
Well, who would you rather play in round 2?
Who would I rather play? Well, I'm nervous about both teams. I would rather play Anaheim because I don't know that I can physically take another Yankees-Red Sox ALCS.
Huh.
I literally, I may have to be, strapped down on a gurney while I'm watching it.
Well, you get the Tigers in round 1, which is almost like a bye.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought a couple years ago, too, in 2007, and I was correct. So.
Edwin Jackson fell apart. They're down to basically one starter that you can rely on in a playoff series.
Really? And how many reliable starters do the Yankees have at the moment?
Well, Pettit finally gave out a little bit.
His shoulder's has a bum shoulder now, so he's questionable.
Well, he's probably getting a package this weekend.
Okay, Big Papi.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay.
He's done
Big
it
Papi.
before.
Sure, right. Yeah.
Big Papi, all Big Papi did was take a supplement that hadn't been banned yet.
Exactly.
He got careless with the supplements.
Absolutely. He bought it at GNC at the Natick Mall. Right, I know, I understand.
He hadn't studied the market enough yet.
Absolutely, yeah. He thought it was ginseng, and it was androstenedione barbitol, whatever.
It was a potentially potent supplement that hadn't been banned yet by the Major League Baseball.
That's right. That happened to Manny, too. He just took an anti-lactation or a pro-lactation drug mistakenly in his supplement, too.
I got to say, I'm really starting to hate baseball. Baseball is like this wife that I'm married to that I'm just starting to look at and pick apart and just get mad at all the time. The fact that there's still no accountability for the last 15 years of the drugs and all the cheating, and there's this list where only 5 names have trickled out, and I just think it's embarrassing. It is the worst league out of all the leagues. The fact that I can't watch my team on Saturday.
Well, then the NHL is the worst league out of all 4 leagues.
Yeah, right.
They don't have a freaking TV contract.
Gary Bettman's furious right now. It's like, what else do I have to do?
Exactly.
But seriously, where is the accountability for the last 2 decades? Why don't they care?
Mistakes were made, Bill. Let's just
I look
move
at Big Papi.
Let's not talk about the past.
Every time I look at Big Papi, I feel like I'm going through some sort of emotional fulcrum. I still haven't gotten over it yet. Did he cheat? Did he not cheat? He seems sadder to me. I'm having all. Can I just watch the game and not think about stuff?
Going back to what we said in May when that woman held up the sign, Big Papi just needs a hug. He still needs one.
Yeah, he's
got the most home runs ever by a DH, though. Didn't he do that the other night or some nondescript record?
Yeah, great. Martinez has replaced him as the emotional center of the dugout and the clubhouse and everything. So
yeah,
I guess that's good. But
guy.
I don't know. You think 2 years ago you had the Papi Manny combo and there's so much swagger, and now it's.
You mean the emotional center of the Red Sox is not J.D. Drew?
He's the emotional darkness.
He's the emotional vortex. He takes emotion away.
This team might have the most guys on the team that I have to struggle for reasons to like them. Even somebody like Rocco Baldelli, who's a fantastic guy by all accounts. When he comes up in the 9th inning, I feel like somebody's letting blood out of my body. I really do. It's I feel like I'm giving enough blood to make 10 hemophiliacs make it through the weekend. He's so sad. It's just he's so beaten up and sad up there, and he's got that terrible swing. And
that should be his nickname, the Leech.
Rocco the sad.
Leech Baldelli.
I mean, I know he came back from this terrible condition. He deserves to be applauded for that, but I don't know. I remember watching him on Tampa, and it was everyone was saying he was the next DiMaggio. It just kind of makes me feel bad.
Yeah, that's right. He was the next DiMaggio.
We have an inordinate amount of guys in this team that make me feel bad. I just feel sad as I watch.
Oh, you'll feel happy when they're riding down a duck boat down Charles River in November.
Oh, stop. I will say the one guy, shocking, who just a ton of confidence in right now is Wagner.
I know. It's crazy. He's another
Wagner's
guy, National League to American League. Who knew? 2 guys with the Red Sox defying
Wagner
the odds.
was always good, though. The question was whether he could come back from his surgery, and I can tell you he's back. He throws the ball hard, and people can't hit it.
Maybe that's what I'll rest my meager hopes on, is that you have not one but 2 guys who went from the National League to the American League that are defying the baseball gods, and hopefully they'll blow up in an enormous moment. Maybe at the same time, Wagner will throw some fat pitch that Gonzalez will boot.
Yeah. Well,
that would be great. That would be great if they could both screw up on the same play.
Did Jeter get engaged?
I don't know. That's the rumor. That's the word. That's the rumor, but I can neither confirm nor deny.
Let's talk about your tweet.
Okay.
So you made this tweet that Derek Jeter, it was something of Jeter he's tied Lou Gehrig, and you were like, now that's a guy you want to be in the same sentence with. And I got a whole bunch of emails saying like,
well, not really. Good
actually,
point.
not really, because that might mean you have a terrible life-threatening.
ALS, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. But I was thinking of the on-field Lou Gehrig, obviously.
Not the died of cancer Lou Gehrig?
No, he didn't die of cancer. He died of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, yeah, it's a disease. I should have said disease.
That's right.
Yeah, you always forget there's a difference between cancer and a disease.
That's right. Cancer is just a disease, but he had a different disease.
Yeah. But, so yeah, an emotional Jeter getting the most hits as a Yankee. You probably watched 87% of them.
I did, yeah, I would think so. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, when you think about that, I mean, it's really kind of hard to wrap your head around. And when you think of the guys that played for the Yankees, you know, Ruth and Gehrig and DiMaggio and Mantle,
right.
And you know, all the greats through the years, and to think that Derek Jeter, like a guy you watched in you know, the prime of my lifetime. You know, you hear old guys talk about, I watched Mantle, or, you know, some really old guys talk about seeing Gehrig play or something, and you're like, whoa, those guys are like immortals. You can't even wrap your head around it. But to think of Jeter has the most hits of anybody in the most storied franchise in sports, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he's a throwback to what the baseball that we grew up with, where he feels bigger than just a player.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's some legend qualities to him that like it's like hard to imagine him like just going to a movie.
Yeah.
Doing regular people stuff. There's not a lot of guys left like that in baseball.
No, I
can't even think of three.
And partly because I'm a Yankees fan, I was never a big Cal Ripken fan. I mean, Baltimore fans may feel that way about Cal Ripken, but I mean, the Yankees, you know, all the names in Yankee history, and to think Jeter has the most hits ever, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and he might not be close to being done yet.
I mean, the Yankees have never had a guy with 3,000 hits, which is incredible in its own way, but he's going to get 3,000 hits, knock on wood, barring some tragic injury. You know, he's got like 27 and change now, so he's definitely going to get 3,000 hits.
He might get to 3,500 for all we know.
He's actually ahead of Pete Rose's pace right now at the same age.
Is he really?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he's going to play till he's 46 like Pete did or whatever Pete was. Unless he gets into trouble with some gamblers, has to keep.
What other things you would do? How many things in life would you want to be ahead of pace of Pete Rose in?
No, well, on the field,
hits and that's it.
On the field, it's good to be in the same sentence as Lou Gehrig. It's never a good idea to be in the same sentence as Pete Rose.
Ever. Not with hairdos, marriage problems, anything.
When you talked about my tweet before, I thought you were going to talk about my tweet where I said that in retrospect, the debate of who's better, Jeter versus Nomar, is like comparing the U.S. military to Bangladesh's.
Well, that just hurt.
I mean, I think it's so frighteningly accurate.
That just hurt.
I mean, remember those debates back then?
Yeah.
Heated debates between Yankee and Red Sox fans about Nomar or Jeter. I mean,
they were all valid. Nomar was our equivalent of Don Mattingly.
Right.
He was the guy that the first 4 years of his career, you assumed that this guy was going to be one of the 30 greatest hitters ever. Yeah.
Right.
We had no reason to know otherwise or think otherwise.
I would say that his fall was much more precipitous and tragic than Mattingly's, though.
He is, if you look at his career stats, you feel like if you just showed him to some alien who didn't understand baseball, the guy would think that Nomar got into like a 18-wheeler truck accident or something. Or like he fell out of a building.
He was shot by Barbara Hershey like the Natural.
Yeah, seriously. I always thought Mattingly's drop was bad. And this is like a whole other level.
Yeah.
It's almost like two different careers. It's like the first and second half of Funny People. All right, that wasn't called for. Back to Jeter, though.
Yes.
I gotta say, I always have the Yanks on. I'm always monitoring what's going on. He's been fantastic. Even defensively,
year.
He's been making like great defensive plays. I feel like he's cheating.
That's the sad thing about baseball now. When a guy has like a phenomenal year late in his career, you're like, oh, he must be on the juice.
He made a play. He went past the second base bag and did a whirl around throw. I was like, come on.
Yeah, he had a great play the other night. Teixeira had a nice play on the other end of it too, where he backhanded it. But yeah, a lot of people say, well, he's having a better defensive year because Teixeira saves him a lot. And he does. He saves him on some throws, but Teixeira can't do anything about his range, which has been more. He's had a bigger range this year than he has in the past few.
Yeah.
Went through the rejuvenation machine, as you would say.
Don't tell that to a baseball stat guy, though, because they'll bring out all those weird stats.
I know. That's ridiculous.
Range factor.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to the basement with your computer, nerd.
Oh, Johnny, declaring war. Wow. The basement. They hate the basement, Johnny.
I know.
They're very upset about that.
Right, yeah.
But I will say Jeter does look spry.
He does look good.
He's got his mojo back. You know what I think really helped him? I don't know if anyone's mentioned this, and if they have, forgive me, but I think just the character assassination of Alex Rodriguez just put a hop in his step, and still does.
You think he reads from Selena Roberts' book every so often just to get before the game to pump himself up?
Oh, we always, for some reason in every podcast it comes back to when we were in college together, but like imagine taking the most annoying person on our hall that we always wanted to get rid of and who tagged along, and we know who this person is, tagged along and just, God, we hate this guy, I wish this guy would go away. And then basically this guy does go away. Like, A-Rod's there, but he's not really there anymore. He's just like, he plays baseball, he shuts up, he's turned into like, he's almost like a pod. And I think Jeter just is blossomed just because of that.
One of the things I enjoyed the most was the post-game press conference, which I saw on SportsCenter, clips of on SportsCenter the next day on Saturday morning, of A-Rod sitting next to Posada, talking about Jeter, and A-Rod was singing Jeter's praises, and Posada was just looking down at his fingernails, he couldn't have been more disdainful, because in his mind he knew that A-Rod was completely BSing.
Yeah.
And it was so blatant to see it. If you could have seen the thoughts in his head right then, it would have been is this guy freaking serious? Is he really kidding me with this? You could see Posada was just filled with hate.
Well, A-Rod seems like he's finally settled in that place where...
Well, the thing is, A-Rod's like a role player now. You just kind of forget he's on the team. He's had some big home runs this year, too, which has gone under the radar, but he's really kind of gone under the radar this year.
He's like your Hank Blaylock.
Gone about his business, and he's just like a threat in the lineup still. Teixeira kind of put the team on his back, and you got Swisher, who's the kind of the Kevin Millar clubhouse guy, and the shaving cream pies and all that. But A-Rod's kind of really flown under the radar. Even when he's dating Kate Hudson, it's really surreal.
Yeah, it seems like all he cares about is playing baseball and getting the Black Crowes guys sloppy seconds. That's his life. Flying in private jets.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't have to be the superstar, the spotlight. Just go.
He's got Kate Hudson I'll show you Remedy. It's only Black Crow song I can think of.
I can't even think of another Black Crow song. I wish I had some comeback.
She talks to Angel?
Yeah, there you go.
See,
I always get that song confused with the guy from 90210, Jamie Walters. Didn't he have a song
How Do You Talk to an Angel?
How Do You Talk to an Angel? And what was the Black Crowes one?
I think it's She Talks to Angels.
She Talks to Angels. There's a lot of songs in the 90s about talking to angels. Interesting.
Angels are big in the 90s.
That's right.
And
there was that song by the Goo Goo Dolls, which was about the movie where Nicolas Cage was an angel. This is interesting.
Which of the 40 bad Nicolas Cage movies was that? I can't remember.
It was the one with Meg Ryan when he played an angel or something.
There seriously needs to be a Nick Cage festival where people can just talk during the movie and make jokes.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
It would be awesome. Wait, you just made me think of something. If an opposing team comes to your stadium, are you allowed to play at-bat music for them?
Probably.
Because how funny would it be at Fenway if they played Black Crow songs every time A-Rod came up? It'd be subtle, but it would bug him, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Although I almost don't... A-Rod, when he gets mad, it almost seems like it's not a good thing for the other team.
Well, didn't the Indians, was it last year in the playoffs or was it the Indians? I think so.
Yeah.
When they brought Josh Beckett's ex-girlfriend to some country singer or something.
Yeah, no, it was 2 years ago, Game 5. That was a bad idea.
They brought her out to sing the national anthem.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
He didn't care for that. So you may not want to rile up A-Rod with some Black Crows.
And you know who else is you might not want to rile up department? George Posada.
That's right.
You don't throw at George Posada.
You don't throw at George. George didn't really get high grades for the fight, though, from the New York media because they were worried about, the Blue Jays are 40 games out, and you don't want to get Sabathia gets a Bill Lee situation and rips a rotator cuff or something.
Loosen up, New York media. There are two things I love. The first was, I've never liked Posada. I just think he's always bugged me. I'm sure you have guys in the Red Sox that bug you.
Oh, God, yeah.
Posada's bugged me since the late 90s. It's indefinable. I just don't like him.
You even have a shirt, I think, that talks about him in a derogatory fashion, I believe.
It does. I do. I don't like Posada. I've never liked Posada. So for him to, finally instigate a bench-clearing brawl after all these years.
Yeah.
With that little passive-aggressive pansy, kind of couldn't decide whether he wanted to clock the pitcher or not, so he just kind of threw the elbow out a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was running he looked like the black guy in Revenge of the Nerds running with the with the pole boat pole.
Don't say that.
He did.
That's an outrage.
He was going around and he just casually threw that little pansy elbow at Jesse Carlson, and then Carlson calls him out. So that was my first favorite part.
Right.
Hey, if you're going to start the thing, just run into him.
Yeah.
Just clock him.
He didn't want to be that blatant about it.
Yeah, but what he did was it's going to start something anyway, so you might as well get your money worth. Take the skirt off, George. And then second, I don't know if you noticed this, but did you notice Jeter? He said hey 30 times.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, 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 hey.
Yeah.
Just holding the bat and having a heart attack, because God forbid there's violence in Derek Jeter's.
A guy called the fan and was killing Jeter the other day and said that...
For being a wuss?
Well, they said that every time the Yankees get in a brawl, in the last 10 years, Jeter's never in the middle of it.
It's true.
There was a big thing with he and Chad Curtis a few years ago. They got in a brawl, I think with the Mariners or somebody, and Chad Curtis, born-again Christian, was right in the middle throwing haymakers, and he was mad when he looked at the tape that Jeter was just on the sidelines, and they kind of got into, there was some ugliness in the locker room about that.
You know what? That, in my opinion, deserved ugliness. I would be so mad if I got in a fight and I looked at the tape and somebody was just kind of watching.
I mean, they said that the guy pointed out, and it's a fair point, that Sabathia has been on the team for 5 minutes, and he was the first guy over the railing looking for a Blue Jay to kill.
Right.
And meanwhile, Posada was he was the best man at Posada's wedding. It's his best friend on the team, his best friend in life, and he's in there, getting into it, and Jeter was just waving at Minka Kelly or something. But you don't want Jeter tearing up a knee in a fight either. I can see that point too. Jeter's
got to stop worrying about disappointing his parents. He's 35. Go in there and throw a punch, Derek.
Plus Joe. I think he was close to Joe Torre. That's not the he's deeply imbued in that's not the Yankee way, the dignity, all that.
Yeah, Joe Torre, who now manages the Los Angeles Dodgers and could care less.
I'm just telling you, that's who he grew up with Torre. That was the whole thing. They would never throw at anybody because that wasn't the Yankee way. And meanwhile, they're lighting up Jeter. Pedro Martinez is lighting up Jeter every game.
You know what it reminded me of a little bit, now that you brought that up? When Bird gets in a fight with Dr. J.
Right.
I'm at the game. And, first of all, it's just incredible that this is happening. You'd never, ever in a million years think. I wrote in my book that it was like Easter Bunny and the Santa Claus just squaring off. Everybody just in shock. So Barkley and Malone come from behind Bird and grab him. And Malone has his arms, and Barkley's got him by the neck. And Dr. J, who I've never really totally liked after this, throws a couple haymakers at Bird as his arms are being held back.
In fact, when Dr. J came to Holy Cross to give a speech, and a bunch of us went, you refused to go on principle.
Yes, I did.
You would not go see Dr. J tell us how to be good college students and future successes or whatever his speech was about because you said he sucker punched Larry Bird.
He did. There's a tape.
True.
I didn't make it up. You don't sucker punch the legend.
That's right.
So when Bird saw the tape, Robert Parrish is just see, I think Parrish was probably stoned. It's not his fault, but so Robert Parrish is just standing there from 10 feet away watching it with a bowl of popcorn, basically. Watching, hey, Blair's getting his ass kicked. And Bird was mad for 3 years about that.
Understandably.
Nobody on his team. And McHale was like Jeter, doing the hey, 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 hey routine, but not actually jumping in.
Right.
And then Maxwell and ML Carr can find it. But yeah, same thing. Imagine there was bitterness once with you when somebody broke our window and you chased down the guy and we didn't get your back. You were mad at us.
I think so. Yeah, that's true. You got to have loyalty.
But you had 25 beers in you, so maybe not the greatest example.
Sure.
Whereas Jeter, I think, just didn't want to. Again, it goes back to the parents.
That's right.
You're 35, Derek. You're dating the girl from Friday Night Lights who used to date John Mayer. Stop worrying about being the good son.
He's a role model, Jeter. I don't know. I guess he's just not he's a lover, not a fighter. What can I tell you?
Yeah, he kind of is.
You know, literally.
I think it's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, if I was his teammate, I'd be like, hey, what's up with that? You know, you got to get in the scrum with the rest of us. But I can understand in baseball, you know, he doesn't want to get hurt, and it's the Blue Jays. It's not like it was against the Red Sox in the playoffs or something. So,
you know what I was thinking about when that whole thing happened? There's nothing in sports that compares to a fight in any game for how excited fans are to consume it, to consume the video of it, versus how, you know, it's never, once the moment dies, that's it. But there's never, like, Best Damn Sports Show couldn't do, like, a Best 100 baseball brawls, even though that would get probably the highest rating of any show they did.
Yeah.
They counted down 100 base brawls. Mm-hmm. It would quintuple the whatever rating they had, and yet they could never do it because Major League Baseball, we can't do that, we can't condone it. But why couldn't you do it? Why couldn't you do brawls where nobody got hurt?
True. You could, but that wouldn't really be the best ones, the ones where nobody got hurt. I mean, you probably have to have who was it, Juan Marichal, John Roseborough swinging the bat.
Yeah, I think that's number one.
That's got to be number one, right?
Yeah.
But
I became don't ask why, but I was on YouTube like a month ago, and for some reason Googled that to look for it, and then I went and I read about it, and you know, he just swung the bat over and over in his head like 5 times before he wrestled to the ground. I mean, it's like he never plays baseball again if that happens in 2009.
Oh, there's no. And meanwhile, he got in the Hall of Fame after the fact.
Yeah, and here's the weird thing: they're friends now.
Really?
Yeah, they're friends. The incident brought them closer together.
Are Kermit Washington and Rudy Tomjanovich friends?
No.
That's good.
No.
That restores my faith in humanity.
Not as much. They didn't really get along. I mean, they did participate a little bit for the book, but the book that was written about them that's terrible.
Yeah, the John Feinstein. Was it John Feinstein?
Yeah, it's called Mailing It In by John Feinstein. It's called Here's the Same Story Told 4 Different Times, so I could stretch this to a book-length book. But I think there's a little more bitterness for that one.
Understandably.
The crazy one there's apparently videotape of, but the only a few people have seen it, was the Willis Reed one when he fought. I think he knocked out 3 different guys on the Lakers.
Really?
Yeah, it was like opening night in 1967. There was some sort of fight. He got his arms held back at some point during the fight and just went Incredible Hulk.
See, this was the problem back then, is that you only had 3 networks. There was no cable. The game was undoubtedly not shown on TV, right?
Supposedly he scattered the bench. He broke somebody's jaw. He knocked somebody else out cold. Like,
I mean, now it would be like 24-hour cable coverage, not just on ESPN, but on the cable news channels as well, if something like that happened.
Yeah, like then, think the Venus Williams thing.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Serena Williams.
Yeah.
She yells an F-bomb at the line judge, and I'm still hearing about it 5 days later from people who are disappointed in her.
Yeah, but come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was supposed to measure my life by Serena Williams' actions. Like, come on.
Right.
Wait, people can't be human? It was a terrible call. I would have yelled at the line judge, too.
I say 5 worse things a day in traffic, for God's sake, than she did, you know? Give me a break. That's such a joke. Like, we're supposed to be, the outrage. Give me a break. She's trying to win a tennis match. She's all amped up. She's got the adrenaline flowing. Come on. I'd feel worse if she was like, oh, my bad. Sorry. Congratulations.
She's losing to Kim Clijsters, who just, had a kid. It's embarrassing. She's mad.
Federer got all fired up, too, and you never see him fired up. He got mad because the guy he wanted like a late overrule or something. Federer was all fired up.
It was weird seeing Federer mad.
It was. I know. He's like a robot.
He's like very there's an edge to him.
Don't tell me not to talk. I will talk if I want.
I'll talk for as long as I want to talk.
I wish he was like smoking a cigarette at the time, like a typical European, like a big long cigarette.
Yeah, that would be great.
Taking like a big drag on it.
All the Europeans should act like they do in real life in sporting events. They should just smoke, and there should be like poorly dressed women not sitting on the bench with them. Somebody sent me a great email asking why all the European tennis players dress like Ralph Macchio in Karate Kid 1. Like they had the same kind of hair with the bandana. And
what's up with the outfits Federer wears, like that black and red thing?
I don't know.
I mean, and that logo he has, that RF, I don't know.
What did you think of the girl who had the Polish name, but she wasn't from Poland? She was Caroline Wozniacki, who's actually from like Denmark or somewhere.
Oh, is she? I didn't even realize that.
So she does this. I tweeted about this. She had this match, and maybe a bad wardrobe choice.
I know you had a tweet about what the number one thing on Google was.
It was number 3 on Google Trends was Caroline Wozniacki breasts. Doesn't get more right to the point than that.
Tennis is a great sport.
Bad wardrobe choice. Let's just say the balls weren't the only thing bouncing around during that match. And so the next match, she had on this, it was like a shirt, but then with the covered shirt, so you just had no idea what was going on chest-wise. It was like somebody had a talk with her.
Do you think the U.S. Open officials talked to her, or was it her own coach?
And I have a message for them, Johnny. They can go to hell. I don't like what they did there.
You know what the problem with tennis is, and I, believe me, have less than a passing interest in it, but the names of these, like, European players, especially the women, all these Russians and like Serbians, I mean, they mentioned these names. The Sports Center anchor, like, I was worried about some of these people. That, like, somebody was going to, it's like a Tom Brokaw situation. He couldn't pronounce anything. It's impossible.
Yeah, there were some bad ones. I actually watched a ton of the U.S. Open. I don't know why. I just hadn't watched. It started because I was rooting for James Blake, and then I got caught up in a couple other matches. I was caught up on the Melanie Udan, whatever her name is.
Yeah, America's sweetheart. She's an American, and she had an unpronounceable name, too.
I know. Her name killed her. It's too bad her name wasn't like Melanie Johnson. Everybody would be like, hey, an American. But with her name, it was like just like she was Finnish.
Yeah, Belgian or something.
But so I was watching a lot of tennis, and I have to say I really was enjoying the night matches. I think it kind of hits in the right time of the sports year. Like football hasn't totally gotten going yet. Baseball's kind of boring because we know who the baseball teams are.
Remember we were in college, and I think we went back, it was like our sophomore year or junior year. I think it was our sophomore year, and Connors made like that one last run.
Oh, yeah. We had 2 in a row.
We were all into that, and we were watching those, and he was like, the whole crowd was like just trying to will him to victory. That was like, tennis could be exciting for something like that.
We had 2 in a row because the year before it was McEnroe.
That's
or the year after or whatever. It was 2 years in a row. We had gotten back to school, and tennis was gigantic.
Yeah, we were really into that. The U.S. Open, the crowd was into it. He was yelling at refs, and yeah, that was exciting.
It's another sport, yet another one. And baseball is really the only sport that you can't say this about totally, but tennis in HD, I think, has helped.
Yeah.
It's not only just because you can see the ball better and you can see where it lands better, but the close-ups of the females, not a bad thing. Let's be honest.
No, it's good. I think they used this step in and they had to change the names. They had to simplify the names.
Maybe they.
I know you're Maria Zhvishkinsky. From now on, you're Maria Johnson.
Or Maria B.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it could be like soccer, like the Brazilian soccer team, where they all have one name. Like you could be Melanie and you could be Maria. That's it. That's enough.
Well, you know, I lost track of the story I was about to tell when I was talking about the HD thing. So there was this one match. Oh, it was the Italian girl who Flavia Pignata or whatever her name is. They should just call them the Italian girl, the Finnish girl. So this Italian girl who was like pretty cute, got cuter as she got sweatier.
Oh my God.
Joe Mead, was that bad?
That's probably a little creepy.
Well, I mean, once she really worked up a sweat, I was more invested.
Sure, understandably.
And you know, I'm half Italian. I'm obviously going to be predisposed, but so she basically down. It was the last game. She was going to lose, and she was going against this Russian who I'd never heard of because I don't really follow women's tennis at all, and she saved like 4 match points, and the woman, like her body language, like she really started to lose it. Like you could visibly, like she would hit, the other girl would hit a winner, and this girl, like her shoulders would sag, and she looked like she just came out and her car was gone. Like after every winner that the other girl hit, and she slowly began to melt down. You could see it. So she lost, and they were like, wow, blah, 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 whatever her name is. You know, she has a history of this. So I went and I looked her up, and this girl was like literally famous for having meltdowns and crying during matches. So now I'm watching the match, I'm going, cry, I want to see her cry.
Well, how about the one
and she did, she cried.
How about the one early on where I forget who it was, maybe she was seated number 1, and her coach is kind of like Bobby Knight, like they showed him in the stands, and every time she double faulted or something, he would have like this visible reaction, and he was like ready to like throw something. He's like pulling his hair out, and he's like cursing at her and screaming.
Yeah.
And they said like that only gets her more upset. She would like have more faults and, hit it into the net even more. It was troubling.
That's what I want. That's where I want to be, Johnny.
You want to be that coach? They're going to be that dad?
Well, my daughter is already like hitting balls over the net. Like she's clearly headed for at least 5 majors.
You always said in college that was the thing. If you had a daughter get a tennis racket in her hand early, that's where the money is.
I did that. I said that, and I also was hoping that she'd have the genes, and she does.
Nice.
She's kind of a wimp. I got to be honest. We've been, that's my fear with her is like she'll stub a toe, and she's like rolling around for 20 minutes. I don't think that's a good sign for tennis, but so she's hitting the ball over the net and stuff, and I could totally see how these tennis dads are formed. So I'm like, you hit 4 in a row. Come on, hit 5.
Who was the guy? Mary Pierce's father, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be the next Jim Pierce.
Nice.
We always used to make fun of my Uncle Bob because he had we used to call him the Great Santini because he had these tennis daughters and he was like a little too into it. I think I'm going to be worse. But I will say that I think from just my small taste of it so far, like playing basketball with her and hitting tennis balls with her and stuff, like all the feelings you have for your sports teams.
Yeah, it's more
when your kids play sports, it's like Game 7 of the World Series every time they do anything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's going to be bad for me. I'm not looking forward to it.
My goodness.
It's going to be an emotional ringer.
The thing I don't like about tennis generally is the commentators.
I think we might need to get Gus Johnson involved in tennis.
Well, luckily for me, here in Connecticut on Sunday, they had the Jets-Texans game on CBS.
Oh, they switched over in time for you.
They switched over right in time, and I watched it, and it was Gus Johnson. I was so happy. I almost sent you a text because I was so excited about that call. It was perfect.
The whole fourth quarter, he was great, and then he went to... He hit some note that couldn't be picked up by a television. As Stokely caught it. Yeah, only dogs could hear it. We didn't even know what that note was, and then he did his whole thing. But I think he got so carried away that afterwards he was like almost sheepish.
Yeah, it was like
he had a sound to his voice like, I might have gone too far in that one. I hope I get to keep my job. No, Gus, keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
And you mentioned it today in a column, but really it should be an NFL film story all into itself. The fact that the guy, whoever the receiver was, Stokely, had the presence of mind to run laterally to eat as much time off the clock after he makes that catch in that play.
Yeah.
Literally 99.9% of the NFL runs right in the end zone and does a 15-minute dance. I mean, the fact that he knew to run run along the 1-yard line, it was incredible. How does he have the presence of mind to think of that?
My buddy Gus, so he's a giant Broncos fan, and we'd been emailing all game. And I was like, come on, keep the faith. They're my sleeper pick. He's like, Kyle Orton sucks. And sending me all these mean Kyle Orton emails. So then when that happened, I emailed him, you got to believe. And his email back was, Stokely did the Madden move. Like he was more excited about that than the most dramatic win in Broncos history. And it really was. Like we'd been waiting for probably 15, 20 years to see somebody do that.
It's really, how he thought of that is, at that moment is just incredible. Just to figure the adrenaline and everything, how does he not run right in the end zone?
People have had fights over somebody running to the 1-yard line and just stopping with the controller.
Right.
And the other guy had to chase after and hey man, come on, that's not cool.
The sad thing for me about that game too was that my wife and I watched this show over the summer called Dhani Jones Tackles the Globe, where Dhani Jones, the linebacker, went to different countries and tried different sports.
Is that a Saturday Night Live sketch?
No, it's true. It was on the Travel Channel. And he's a pretty engaging personality, Dhani Jones. He was good going to his other countries and really liked Dhani. And he was so badly burned on that play, and he gave up at about the 25-yard line, just started to, jog.
Yeah.
Awful. Dhani might want to maybe cut back on the travel schedule next offseason.
Or he might have more time to film that show because it's going to be released.
Or he may have a lot more time to film that show, exactly.
Last thing,
here's a sport maybe you should try. It's called American football.
Last thing, you're going to see one of our favorite bands as kids and still chugging around years later. U2.
That's right, on Sunday night. U2 at Foxborough or Gillette or whatever they call it now.
Gillette Stadium. So you'll be home on Tuesday.
Exactly. I will not be at work on Monday. I'll just get here in time to come right to work. Yeah, exactly. And murder to get out of there.
How many U2 times is this for you?
will be number 4.
Nice. You never fully...
The first time out of Hartford, though, and the first time in a stadium.
You never fully forgave me for seeing U2 on St. Patrick's Day in the Boston Garden in 1991.
No, well, it's true. I mean,
or 1992.
Well, I saw them in Hartford in 1992, though, because...
But not in the Garden on St. Patrick's Day. You didn't see that.
No, I did not see that.
You didn't get to go to that one.
I saw them in the Hartford Civic Center with our college friend Chip Kane.
It's always fun when U2 plays in a place like Hartford. Because, Bono's like, Hartford? Which one is Hartford again? Nick has no idea.
That was a fantastic accent, by the way.
That was one of the worst.
God, it was like I was in Dublin.
Oh, man. Do you like the lyrics, BB?
That's better.
That's better. Yeah, it's always weird. Like, I always think of Bruce Springsteen when he comes to L.A., how much he just secretly, represents everything he hates about life and society. It's like, hey, that stadium! And, deep down, he's like, just get me out of here and give me my check.
Get me back to New Jersey.
He looks out and just sees all these, studio people dancing with their wives who are 30 years younger.
The disappointing thing was when I bought tickets, and then today you told me that you have some U2 connection. You could have had me, in the first row. Bono could have, pulled me up like Courtney Cox in the Dancing in the Dark video. And you're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, my friend Ben.
Freaking murdered me.
He's
a
fan of the B.S. Report, too.
Come look for me at the stadium, everybody. I'll be in the last row in the last seat in the place.
Poor JackO. Are you going to be covered in the Irish flag again, or no?
Well, I would have been if I was in the first row.
U2. I mean, at this point, it's still... I mean, you still feel like the same kind of excitement to see them, or...
Yeah, it's a good time.
Or is it like a nostalgic thing now?
Well, Bono can't really sing anymore, but, they play those old songs. When they go into Sunday Bloody Sunday, it's exciting. The crowd gets into it. It's exciting to see.
Bono's had to do a little bit of audio adjustment.
I saw them in 2005 in Hartford, and my now wife and I were leaving, and we were going out to our car, and we walked by, and U2 pulled out in a series of cars right in front of us. And Bono came out, and actually when we were sitting, we saw him get off the stage. And when he got off the stage, they put on this terry cloth robe on him, it was Muhammad Ali. And then he was in the back of a car, and the terry cloth robe had a hood, so he put on the hoodie and the sunglasses, and he gave us a wave from the back of the car. So that was kind of cool. We were pretty close to him.
Nice.
As close as I could have been this Sunday if I had talked to you sooner. So
you should have called him Paul. He would have gotten confused and turned around. What?
Right.
Who called me Paul?
I'll yell out David for the Edge, right?
Is that his name?
I believe his real name is David Evans.
Yeah, I think the Edge was a strong move.
And
as
Bono,
we've talked about,
Bono is Paul Hewson.
As we've talked about many times, the master stroke of the Edge nickname was that he insists on the.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's not Edge. Look, it's not Edge. It's the Edge.
You always said you wanted to go to have dinner at their house, so you could be like, excuse me, the Edge. Could you pass me the butter, the Edge?
I'd like a little more wine, the Edge.
Exactly.
How long have you lived here, the Edge? Yeah, it would never get old. I would always enjoy it.
I'm excited for it. I've never seen them in a stadium, only in an arena, so I'm fired up for that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're one of the few bands that can really, in the stadium, it's going to be the same experience as the arena. On the off chance that the boys from U2 are listening to this podcast right now, I'd just like to say, play the old stuff. Yeah, but U2 Connection will no longer want to help you. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So, yeah, no, I'm excited for it. Yeah. I mean, that's the old conundrum, right? When you're a band that's been around for 30 years and people, like the Rolling Stones, people go to a Rolling Stones concert in the late 80s and the 90s and they want to hear Sympathy for the Devil and all those songs. Exactly. When they say the words, here's a song from our new album, people are like, I'm going to go get a beer. Anybody? Yeah. Who needs one? Right. Yeah. That should be, they should name an album. Here's a new song from our new album, Who Needs One? Because that's what everybody says. You might remember this from our song, I have to go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. Those are good albums. I told this story to Colin, but the best one ever was when we went to Boston and they let off, this is like late 80s, we went to a Boston concert. They let off with like 5 straight classics, and then the guy told everybody that he was going to play, they were now going to play the entire Third Stage album, and it was like a riot. to go to the concession.
To run.
Yeah, it was like a 24 episode where someone says that they've released toxic gas. That's people are elbowing each other to get out of the aisle. It was unbelievable. I've never been to a concert where that happened. We're now going to play the entire third stage album. Stupid chaos. It's like a bomb went off. Anyway, enjoy yourself, Johnny.
Well, thank you. I'll do my best.
And how you feeling about the Yanks this week?
Well, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. I'm a little concerned about their overall chances to win the World Series, so I'll say I'm a little pensive. I'm like a 5.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
All right, buddy.
JackO, always a pleasure.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.